celebrating and showcasing extraordinary people who are doing incredible things to make our world a better place. This is Close Up Television. I'm your host, Jim Masters. Thanks for joining us. On today's episode, we celebrate Nikia Pratt. Nikia, or Niki, is a Moach, a mom coach. She owns To Know Thyself LLC, where she coaches mompreneurs. That includes mom entrepreneurs. Niki clarifies that mompreneurs can also include mothers and women who are professionals working a 9-to-5 job. She also adds that they don't necessarily need to have certain qualifications, such as a degree or earning a certain amount of money. She serves mothers and women employed in the workforce as well. Inspired by her divorce in 2017 and her Christian faith, it became apparent to her that it was her life's mission to equip mompreneurs with the tools required to operate at their maximum potential and unleash a life of abundance. When working with each mompreneur, a plan is created that is tailored to meet their needs and their lifestyles. This plan positions the mother to sustain a healthy balance between work and life and family while having mindfulness too. Much of Niki's experience can be traced back to her work as a licensed clinical social worker. For over 20 years, she worked at the Baltimore City Department of Human Services. She started out as a frontline worker, where she investigated matters surrounding child abuse. Then she worked her way through the ranks and became a frontline supervisor, a division chief, a program manager, and ultimately, the assistant deputy director. Throughout her 20-year tenure, she worked with hundreds of children and families. The experience showed Niki the profound impact every mother has on the family unit. As a Moach, she has shifted her focus from the family unit to the individual mother. She left her 6-figure job in July of 2023 to pursue her dreams full-time. She's also an international motivational speaker and author of the book Picture Perfect, which is a story that is loosely based on her life. Now, to learn more about Niki's amazing journey, she joins me today in the Close Up Television studios for this exclusive interview. Niki, welcome to Close Up Television. It's a real pleasure and honor to have you here.
Jim, thank you so much for having me today. It is a pleasure, and I'm so honored to have this opportunity.
We had the wonderful conversation on Close Up Radio, and a lot of times when we have these in-depth conversations on the radio series, I like to take it a step further and dig a little deeper, which we're going to do in this conversation. I know we say interviews, but these are really conversations, because I think conversations people get more out of than just a standard interview, don't you?
Yeah, I agree, yes.
People are more engaged, they just absorb more from it.
Right.
And we had such a great conversation that I said, let's get her here and see if we can dig deeper. So
yes.
It's a pleasure to have you here. I mentioned in the introduction that you're a Moach.
Yes.
And I'm fascinated. I sort of in the introduction described a little of what that was, but tell us how you came up with that idea of being a Moach.
A Moach, okay. So it came from my own experience going through a divorce. And when I went through the divorce, you got a second, because I want to tell you, I want to take you on a little journey.
Coffee's hot.
So what happened was my children began visiting their dad on the weekends during the divorce. And the first day that they went to visit him, the first time ever, it was a Friday evening. I will never forget. And I was actually excited that they were leaving. So I went to bed. It's like I had the bed to myself. And the next morning, I wake up and I stretch. I open my blinds. It's a beautiful day. I thank God for waking me up. And after I stretched, I was like, the silence in my house was so loud, I could barely see. Make that make sense. It was deafening. And I felt myself beginning to panic. And I was like, okay, you know what? Get it together. Don't panic. Said, let's go get something to eat. So go downstairs and I go to the kitchen. I didn't know what to fix myself to eat, because every time I cooked, it was what everyone else liked. And even if I didn't like it, I still ate it because I needed to survive, right?
Yeah, sure.
So I just found myself standing there lost. So I said, you know what? I feel the panic. It's starting to build again. So I said, no, go in the living room and let's watch TV, because I got a lot of advice during the divorce process. You know, when the kids go with their dad, binge watch your favorite show. And so I'm like, okay. So I pick up the remote, and I don't know what to turn on. Because anytime my television was on, it was what the children, it was kid-friendly TV shows on.
Right.
And in that moment, I lost it. That's when I realized I was the shell of the woman I once was. And I didn't recognize the shell. And I went into a panic. And the only way I can explain to you how I felt, I'm going to take you on a journey, okay? You don't have to close your eyes, but just picture this. You're at a carnival with your mom and dad, right? Our mom and our dads, our parents are usually our protectors. We feel safe with them. So you're at a carnival. It's a fall day. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. You're walking through. You're eating all the corn dogs, all the cotton candy, everything you want. You're riding. You're on the rides. You're playing the games. And ever so often, your mom and dad, they're holding your hand, and they'll swing you up, and then your feet go in the air. You're just in your zone, in your comfort zone. And as you're walking, a game catches your eye, and you look. And what you see is not the game, but you see this plush unicorn. And the unicorn is pink. And the horn on the unicorn, it's silver. And it's just so flashy. You imagine yourself going on adventures overnight and making it back home by the time it was time for you to get ready for school, and no one ever knew about you and your unicorn's adventure. So you're looking at this unicorn, and you begin jumping up and down. Oh my goodness. And you turn around, Mommy, Daddy. And they're not there. You didn't realize you let their hands go. And when you ran over there, you lost your parents in that process. Fear takes over. You're paralyzed. You're in a foreign land. You don't know where you are. And every person that walks up to you is like a big bad wolf. The tears begin to roll down both sides of your cheeks. And you just scream out, Mommy, Daddy, help me, come get me. And they're nowhere to be found. And that was me. On my living room floor, 37 years old, I was yelling out to God, why? I did everything I was supposed to do. I saved myself for my husband. I cooked every day. I cleaned. I took care of the children. I paid half the bills. I was faithful, never cheated. How did this happen to me? Now I'm a single woman in this foreign land. Because as Christian women, we're taught, your husband is your spiritual covering. I'm naked now. Who's going to protect me? The big bad wolf is out there waiting. He was supposed to be here to protect me, and now that's gone. And I was just so angry. And I was angry at myself because I allowed myself to become lost. And so I go on this divorce journey, and it was a nasty journey, and it was very expensive. And I was a single mother who was not getting any help financially. And one day I'm sitting outside of Bible study, and God says to me to know thyself. And I felt like I was in a valley. I was really low. And I received a lot of downloads from God. That's what I call it, downloads, right? And I said, what is that? And he said, I am to help other women know who they are and help them escape situations that I am in. And I said to God, I said, I don't know who I am right now. I am a mess. I'm going through this nasty divorce. I can't imagine myself helping another woman get to know who she is when I don't know who I am. And so I put up my usher finger, you know, if you're in church and the ushers tell you, and I put up my usher finger and I said, I respectfully decline your offer, sir. And here we are 6 years later, to know thyself and me being a Moach, I am now established internationally in helping mothers worldwide. So the respectful decline was actually not a decline. It was just temporary. But I am being the answer I needed when I went through. So that's why I am a Moach. And that's why I decided to go that route.
That's really a fascinating story. So you work with folks who are going through similar situations, or is it a variety of things?
So it's a variety of things. They can be a mother who is not experiencing domestic violence or divorce. However, they just lost their way.
Yeah.
They've lost themselves. They could be happily married, but they need to reconnect with who they are, their purpose, their passions. So it can be a variety of reasons. Moaching is all about reminding the woman of the power she holds, reminding her of herself and her own worth. And it's okay to take care of yourself and put yourself first and take care of your family. It can happen simultaneously. We don't have to sacrifice ourselves in order to be a good mom or a great wife. We should not sacrifice ourselves. Our children and our husbands, they are happier when we are healthy and happy.
So one should support the other. It should be a support system, everybody embracing and supporting and lifting one another, as opposed to being competitive or tearing one down.
Exactly.
Because when there isn't the balance within the family, things go off the rails.
Yes.
So that's important for people to realize. And you work with people and help them through that process.
I do. One thing that all mothers, what we do, we are always taking care of everyone else.
Yeah.
And their needs and making sure they're good. We make everybody's doctor's appointments. Truth be told, our husbands don't go unless we make the appointment most of the time. And so we have to make sure that we are treating ourselves as our own MVP. We are the most valuable player. Listen, I am convinced if mothers went on strike, mothers worldwide went on strike, the world would end.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Not only because we bring forth life, but we sustain it. What did I say we do? We make the doctor's appointments. We make sure everyone is taking their medication. We're making sure everyone gets the fruits and the vegetables every day. We sustain life. And so we have to put ourselves first. And a lot of mothers, they struggle with that. I struggled with it. I understood it.
Right, yes. You have to put the oxygen mask on you first before you can help others. I've had to learn that. I've mentioned it several times myself, because I was always, still am the type that would help others before myself.
Yes.
But you really have to have the oxygen to do that.
Yes.
You've written this fabulous book, Picture Perfect. Tell us about the book and the inspiration for it.
Picture Perfect. So that is my baby. The main character, Nina, she is a woman, a mother, a wife, an employee who faces everything in life, from domestic violence to adultery in her marriage, becoming a single mother, finding love again, finding the power within to trust again. So Nina has experienced everything. And so I remind myself of Nina. I relate to Nina. And everyone that has picked up the book, even if they have not experienced domestic violence, but they may say, I didn't experience domestic violence, but what I did experience that was similar to Nina is becoming a single mother and trying to navigate those sometimes muddy waters. And so I wanted to help other women, show them, even though it's a fiction story, it's based in reality, real life events. This book was written from my life experience, being a mother, being a wife who experienced domestic violence, being everything, an employee, and not only just an employee, but a leader in the organization. So not only was Nina and myself, we were responsible for numerous people at work, and we had to come home and be responsible, for home as well. And so I wanted to entertain mothers, and I also wanted to show them that if Nina could do it, if I can do it, they surely can do it. So the inspiration behind that was to help and support. And not only help and support, let me say this, the inspiration was to position all mothers to be the best version of themselves. We all should be operating at our maximum potential. Because when we operate at our maximum potential, then we unleash a life of abundance. And that every mother, I will not stop until every mother understands that and lives it and experiences it.
So what was the process like writing the book, Picture Perfect?
So the process was cathartic, right? I get excited just explaining the process. So the process was, first of all, I had to enroll in therapy because it made a lot of emotions resurface. Yeah. And I needed support in that process. I had to take a lot of breaks because, again, those emotions, anger, resentment, sadness, these things were, and I was reliving some of those experiences because, like I said, I was pulling from real life experiences. But what was magical about the process, I was able to use my creativity to alter endings. I was able to use the creativity. When I used the creativity, I was taking my power back. I was able to explore. I was able to create. I was the creator of this story, and I found power in that process. It would be times where I was typing, because I actually did not write, but when I was typing, there were so many ideas swirling in my mind and so many emotions coming up that my fingers couldn't move fast enough for what was going on up here and in here. And so I would have to slow myself down, but the energy just burst through my fingertips. And it was cathartic. It was releasing. It released me. It freed me. And that power tool was the creativity. So it wasn't just a memoir. It was creative. Yeah. And I enjoyed that part of it.
That's fantastic. How did you come up with the name of your business? I think it's terrific.
To Know Thyself. So again, that's when I went through the divorce. Yeah. And God told me what the name of my divorce.
The name of
God
the divorce?
Told me.
We might not be able to say the name of the divorce on air. However, and that's the thing right there, what you're doing, which I talk about often, you gotta laugh.
You have
to laugh through segments of life because it can get heavy. It can seem frustrating and debilitating. So to find the humor in the nonsensical idiosyncrasies of life is important, right?
It is. It grounds you.
Yeah.
It reminds you. And so now that you say that, I may make a t-shirt, say, what's the name of your divorce? Well, I may make it a trend on social media.
Say what we just started?
What's the name of your divorce? So the name of my divorce would be To Know Thyself.
See? Look what we just started. There we go. Boom. Right here we did it.
Yes. So that's where the name came from. It came from God, and I understood the mission. I didn't accept the mission initially. I understood it. And once I hit the ground running, the book came first, actually. And then Moach came. So I wrote the book, and I was at my book signing, and I had to speak. And I was like, you know what? It just hit me. I was reminded of what God told me about To Know Thyself.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? I have to go on this mission.
Yeah.
Like, it was something holding that microphone and speaking and seeing people's reaction to what I was saying, it fed me. And for people to come up to me and say, you helped me, you freed me, I needed to hear this, thank you so much. I'm like, okay, God, there is a bigger purpose. This is bigger than myself. And so I began speaking.
You're an international speaker as well, motivational speaker.
Yes, I have spoken on a Barbados platform and a South Africa platform. So yes, I am taking my message worldwide. Whoever wants to hear it and whoever is in need, I'm here.
So you're taking the world by storm, and you're taking the world by platform.
Yes, yes. One platform at a time.
Exactly,
yes.
Right. So you love that, huh? Reaching people beyond just the regional area.
I love that. One thing that I have learned in my journey as a Moach and a motivational speaker is that motherhood, it is a universal language. I don't care what culture you're from, what your ethnicity is. It doesn't matter what your family composition is. Motherhood is a universal language. Mothers understand the language
right.
of motherhood.
Yes.
We get it.
Yeah.
And that's what I've learned when I come in contact with women and mothers from other cultures, countries, things of that nature.
So also you're working with mompreneurs. So these are mom entrepreneurs, right?
Yes. So a mompreneur is typically a mother who is an entrepreneur. But in my work and what I've experienced with the moms that I work with, they are professionals and or entrepreneurs. So you can be, to work with me, you can be a professional, a mother who is a professional. And a professional does not mean you make a certain amount or you have to have a college degree.
Right, yeah.
Wherever you go to work and you are paid for your work, you are a professional.
Right.
So that you can be the janitor to the president.
You are a professional.
You are a professional. So it's a professional and or entrepreneur.
Is there a common theme or trait that you've noticed amongst all of the mothers that you've moached?
There is, and they all forget themselves. They work tirelessly for their families. They wake up and the first thing on their mind is their family, getting the children off to school. It is everything and everyone else but them.
Yeah.
And that is what I see in most mothers. They forget that they are the MVP. They forget that. And you know, I want to say too, being a Moach, I consider all mothers to be great. We are the greatest creatures to walk this earth because, like I said, not only do we bring forth life, but we sustain it. And so what great, do you know, did not have a coach?
Right, right.
All greats. When I think of Muhammad Ali, he was the greatest fighter of all time. Why? Because he had coaches to help him along the way. He had more than one coach. Most boxers, you have more than one coach.
Coaches have coaches.
Coaches have coaches.
Because
I have a coach.
You have a coach. One of the main things too is sometimes you have the talent, but you don't have the belief in yourself. And there could have been outside voices, others that have told you, you'll never be able to do that. Don't even try that. Do something different. And those outside voices and the inner voices sort of stop you in your tracks and never give you the opportunity to go. So the talent, the skill may be there, but the world doesn't get a chance to see it. But the coach allows them to allow that to rise to the surface, right?
What does a coach do? A coach brings out of you what you didn't know you had in you. A coach is going to push you beyond your own limiting beliefs.
Right.
You feel safe with your coach. You feel supported by your coach.
Right.
And every mother can use a Moach.
That's really, when I hear the word, it's so unique.
Yes.
What's the reaction when you tell people?
Everyone is like, Moach? Well, what's that?
Yeah.
What's a moach? I never heard of that before. And I was like, I never heard of it either. And I was just I call it in the lab. I was in the lab one day, and I was writing my vision for To Know Thyself. And I wrote Mom Coach. And I was just like,
too generic,
combine it.
It just
didn't. It didn't ring a bell, you know. And I was like, let's combine it, Moach.
Right.
And here I am, a Moach.
I've never met a Moach before until now.
Yes. Well, here I am in the flesh.
And it's absolutely fabulous. You're so passionate about what you do, and it comes through, not just in these conversations, but you really are invested in this. You really want to help people.
I do. Yeah. It's because...
And you're relatable. You've been there.
I've been there. I was going to say, I've been there. I was the mother and the social worker who was thrown across a room one night. And I had to wake up the next morning with a smile on my face. I had to pop pain pills because I didn't want my children to see me in pain. And that's what mothers do. We protect everyone around us. We protect the children at our own cost. That price became too much for me. And eventually I left. However, before leaving, I was that mother who was thrown across the room, and then I had to go to work and help a mother escape a boyfriend or a husband who was abusing her.
Did the kids witness any of this? Were they privy to any of this going on?
So my children saw the mental and emotional. They never saw the physical because that was done when they were asleep or out of the home or just in a different part of the house. Yeah. And one time they saw the ending of an altercation. And because he knew they were coming, he backed off. And at this point, I'm enraged. Oh, yeah. And so when the children came down the steps, they saw me.
They thought he was being attacked.
They thought he was being attacked. And he even said to them, look at what she's doing to me. And then that enraged me even more.
He knew what he was doing.
Yeah, he knew what he was doing. Yeah, so. Whew.
Does it feel good getting it out?
It does. It does feel
cathartic,
good.
Therapeutic.
Yes, it feels really good.
Sort of that's why I say these aren't interviews; these are conversations.
Yeah, it does. It feels good.
Yeah, just. What is it like as far as when you have the moaching sessions? When you're working with because you have this relatability, you know, you've been there, you walk the walk, talk the talk. What's a session like from the beginning when you're working with a client for the first time who's exploring, going through things? I know that probably, I would make a pretty good guess, that developing a trust relationship between you and your client and the client and you is numero uno. That is the first thing. Because in order for them to really get anything from it and benefit and move on with their lives, they need to feel valued, respected, not judged, and trusted, because they're going to open up and go to places like you're doing now.
Right.
Go to places that they might not have expected they were going to go to or reveal.
Right.
So trust, I would imagine, is first. And then what happens from there?
So before we even get to the trust, they have to do what I call an exploration call with me. I have to make sure that I'm able to help, because one woman can come to me and say, I'm suffering with or trying to get through the death of a loved one. Well, my expertise is not in grief. So we have to have an exploration. We're exploring.
I like that. Yeah.
We need to make sure as well that we have some kind of chemistry. Will this relationship work? Will I be able to help you? Is there a connection of some sort?
You know, I think that use of that word, because a lot of people will say, well, first I do an assessment. And sometimes that word sounds just very cold and dry. I'm going to assess you. An exploration, like it's together.
Yeah, together.
That's a great use of that
word.
We're
going to explore because this is a team effort.
Right.
And so let's explore together. So after we explore, and it's determined that we have chemistry, and that I have the skill set to be able to help. Then we go on to what are the areas that she is having problems in. And so we start there. And then we begin digging. However, and every mother is different. Every mother is different. So there is not a one-size-fits-all or blanket approach, solution, or process. You have to go off of each mother's needs. But one thing that is the same in every person that I work with are 3 questions. What do you yearn to do? You have to finish the statement. If I were not afraid, I would.
Yeah.
They have to complete that statement. And then they also have to tell me their top 3 strengths. What happens in this process as they're talking to me, and these 3 questions, they are not just answered like that.
Yeah.
It takes a while.
A while to.
It takes at least 30 days, because what I tell them to do is go and talk to people that they grew up with, their parents, their siblings, friends, because those people have a different perspective than than the mother has. So they have to go and they talk, and we explore these 3 questions. But as they talk, every time, it never fails, a theme begins emerging. And I hear it. I hear it here. I hear it there. I'm hearing the theme. And what happens is when the mother begins to recognize that theme, I call it a shift. A shift begins to happen on the inside. Listen, when I was coming up in church folks, they used to say there's a shift in the atmosphere.
Yes.
They feel it. That shift, so there's a shift, but it's internal for the mother. And what that shift is her aligning with her purpose. It's a gradual shift. And then when I start picking out, well, I hear you said this here. I hear you said that. And all these things are coming together to create. And then it's like, oh my goodness. And they have all the power. They have all the tools. They have everything. They just don't realize it. That's the beauty.
So when those moments happen, that aha moment for them, where they get it and they feel it and they start living it, what is that like? What are you witness to?
I witness the evolution of the new her. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It is an evolution of the new
It's like a
woman.
rebirth.
It is a rebirth. And then to see her like, oh, I didn't realize that. And oh my goodness, yes. But guess what? They're giving me the information.
Yeah.
I didn't tell them they're telling me the information, but you need that support to help you connect the dots. And I tell all the mothers, one mother, I'm gonna give you an example. One mom, when I asked her, what is the one thing you yearn to do? And it always starts very superficial, sleep. Because she's tired, all mothers are tired.
Right.
She wants to sleep.
She could really sleep. Yeah.
And I said, okay, we have to dig a little deeper. We all want sleep. I get it. I'm a mom. What is that one thing when you were a little kid and when you're a child, you don't hold back. So what is that thing that you wanted to do as a kid? And she was like, you know what? She said, I always wanted to be a model or an actress. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, we're getting somewhere. I said, what did that look like to you as a kid? And she said, I always felt like I had to be ready, like paparazzi was following me. So that told me a lot about her deep down desires. Then as I asked her about her top 3 strengths, she told me that she loves to do community organization events, and she loves to travel. And so this theme began developing. And I told her, it's not, your work with me is not to become an actress or model, but it's to connect you with the mind frame of becoming that actress or model. Because you became a mother, You lost that way of thinking. You disconnected from that. And my job is to reconnect you with those desires, that grand thinking that you had for your life, the vision that you had for your life. Now I'm going to connect you back to that, and we're going to move from there. And when I said that, she was like, okay, I get it. I get it. You're right. I have lost that. So it's reconnecting to self.
What do you say to the person to the mom who says, but I can't focus on me. My family needs my total attention. So I've put my life or my career that I had blossoming on hold. And maybe one day I'll come back to it once the kids are grown, once they're out of the house, once they've graduated college or they're married or whatever. And then maybe I'll come back. What do you say to those who it's ingrained in them that you can't have it all and do it all? Remember that commercial? It was on years ago. Something about, I remember the woman in the commercial, I don't know if it might have been for a hair product or something, and it was about I can make the bacon and also fry it in the pan.
I remember.
Remember that?
I do remember.
I can make the bacon and I can fry it up in the pan.
Yes.
So if you have somebody who wants to not put themselves on hold until the kids are grown and later when there's nothing to tend to, because in life there's always things to tend to. What would you say to that person who says, I like this idea, but how the heck do I do it? How can I manage it?
I would say to that mother, what if that day never comes? God forbid.
Right.
You put it off and you say, I'll get to it when the kids are older. What if that day never comes? That's scary. That's scarier for me than to not go after it.
Right.
So I would encourage her to go after everything her heart desires. Because before she had all these titles, mother, wife, entrepreneur, doctor, author,
Savior.
yes, she was a person, a whole person with a purpose. I believe that we're all born with a purpose. We're not just here just to exist. Everyone is born with a purpose. Let's not waste your gifts. Your gift, your yes, is someone else's breakthrough.
Yeah.
Your yes can relieve, your yes can break generational curses. Why sit on your gifts? You are more than a mother.
Right.
You are more than a wife. You are more than a chef, because we're all like, we feed the family. So
Right. Exactly right. Exactly.
You are more than that. And you always come first. You come first and then everyone else. And mothers struggle with that mom guilt. Mom guilt is real. I experienced mom guilt when I decided to leave my marriage. I'm breaking up the family. I'm taking the kids away from their normal. And so I stayed for 22 years. Part of it was mom guilt. Didn't want to feel guilty for breaking up the family.
People used to do that years ago.
Yes.
Remember?
Yes.
For the sake of the kids, they would just stay together and then. Yeah.
That was me. I stayed so long. Another reason why I stayed so long, I come from a long line of strong women. My mother, my grandmother, my aunts. My grandmother had 9 children, five girls and 4 boys. And I witnessed them be strong in their marriages and or relationships. I never saw a failed marriage. My mom and dad, they've been married for 43 years, together longer. My grandmother, I've only seen her with one man my entire life. And so all
The grandfather?
Not my grandfather. No, my grandfather died before I was born. So after him,
So she had
one, and they were never married.
Ah.
They never married.
But they had love and respect.
They had love and
honored
respect.
each
They
other.
lived. I thought they were married. It
Right.
wasn't until I became older.
The things we find out later, right?
They're not
that
married.
Don't tell the kids.
And the only reason why they're not married is because she died.
Yeah.
And so-
Otherwise, they would have.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
they would be together.
What a love story, huh?
Yes.
That's inspiring.
Yes.
To see that, to you at a younger age, see that in your
Exactly.
life, right? It inspired you.
Yes. And so, I, in my mind, I had to stay.
Yeah.
I had to make it work. My mom and dad have been married for 43 years, and so I've seen.
Were they aware? Did your mother,
So,
and then of course, if your father knew.
so no one. When a woman is going through domestic violence, when she's experiencing
don't.
it, people may know a little bit, but they have no idea of the big picture.
Of what's
They have no idea what's
kept
really going
quiet,
on.
right?
So my mom knew some things, my dad knew some things, but they did not know
Did they try
everything.
to intervene?
So my mom told me she told me one time, actually before we got married, she said, "You need to think about this."
That's that woman's intuition.
That's
that
and
is
I should
real.
have
It is
listened.
real. Women's
Mamas
intuition's a real
know.
thing. Don't mess
Mamas
with it. It's
know.
real. Yeah.
And
moms know best, right?
No. And so she was not pushy. My mother was never the pushy
Right.
mother.
She didn't.
But
if you
she would just
loved
give you a
him, if
little
you-
something to think about. She would lay it there and
Are
then
you sure?
I don't know about this. And I was like, no, I love him. I love him. And yeah, 22 years. And after all the emotional and physical abuse, I escaped.
Came out stronger,
Wiser. I came out stronger.
more a sense
wiser.
of who you are.
Yes, let me tell you, that divorce and the 22 years that I experienced, it taught me my worth, and I will never settle for a penny less. Never.
That's great. That's a terrific way to come out of that. Absolutely.
Yes.
And it's an ongoing process, right?
Yes.
It's an ongoing
I always
process.
tell everyone that I moach, you never arrive because we don't stay the same.
Right.
We continue to grow, evolve. We don't stay the same. So you never arrive. It's just a continual process.
When you do the sessions, the moaching sessions, is there 3 questions that you initially ask?
Yes.
And then you have, of course, a mission statement too, right? Tell us about that.
Yes, so I love that. So, a mission statement. When you think about it, every successful business has a mission statement, right? It's the backbone. It's the why. Why is this business in existence, right? Same thing with our lives. We need mission statements. The mission statement is your why. Why are you here, Jim? Why is Nikia here on earth? Why? And so it is important. The mission statement is the foundation of your life, right? When you know who you are, you can create a strong mission statement.
Right.
And so that is the purpose. They all walk away with a mission statement for their lives. But that's why but before we get there, we have to explore you. We have to get to know who you are. You have to understand who you are so that when you go to formulate your mission statement, it really fits you. And so the mission statement gives you clarity, right? It's like that GPS in life. You can go in your car, get in your car, and you have clear direction on where you're headed, right?
Right.
It's not going to stop potholes, accidents. It's not going to stop severe weather conditions.
Dog running in front of the car.
It's not going to stop that. Those things may happen, but even in the midst of those things happening, you still have a clear vision and direction of where you're headed.
Path.
It's the same thing with knowing who you are and creating that mission statement. Life is still going to life, as they say.
Right.
Life is going to life. Things are going to happen. But when you have a clear sense of direction, you will more than likely succeed in life, no matter what.
Look at this book. This is incredible, huh? How did you come up with the cover, the design of the cover.
So the cover, it shows a beautiful bride. And on the outside, she looks beautiful. Her flowers, her dress, her hair, everything is picture perfect.
Picture perfect.
Right. The tears.
But the mascara is running, on her eyes.
The makeup shows what's really going on the inside.
Right.
The inside is showing it's not picture perfect. The inside is showing turmoil.
So it's just image.
It's just image.
It's hiding what
Exactly.
is really going on, which is what a lot of people do. And you did.
I did that for 22 years. Let me tell you how that story started. I was a 15-year-old girl who thought she met the guy of her dreams. We spent those 22 years together and we built the picture perfect life. I saved myself from my husband. We were high school sweethearts. We both graduated with our master's degrees. We did not have our first child until after marriage. We bought the home. We had the picket fence. It wasn't white. It wasn't white. It was brown. But we had the picket fence. So everything on the outside looking in, we were picture perfect. But from the inside looking out, it was pure hell. I experienced everything from emotional to physical abuse. I was thrown across rooms. I was bear hugged to the point where my back cracked in excruciating pain. I was told I should not have eye contact with men because I flirt with my eyes. I was told.
This is what he said to you?
This is what this is the emotional.
These are all issues that are his.
Exactly.
Right? These
exactly.
are all issues. A bully usually is somebody who maybe had bullying themselves too, maybe growing up, perhaps.
Yes.
These issues are not yours.
But I own them as if they were my issues. And he told me I couldn't talk to men. Well, let me say, he said I should not talk to men because I smile a lot when I talk, and that's a form of flirting. And so it's like...
It's a form of joy.
Thank you. And I left because I no longer wanted to fight to be happy.
Yeah.
I no longer wanted to fight to live. And I left. I left, and I have been free, and I never looked back. And that is one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Did you celebrate?
Of course I celebrated. Yes, I celebrated. Now, I didn't have the divorce party. You know how like a lot of women had divorce party? Because I didn't have the divorce party like a lot of women have because I was paying for a nasty divorce.
Yeah.
And so
yeah,
I couldn't afford the party, but I definitely celebrated, went out to dinner and everything with my sisters, and yeah.
What's the response been to the book so far?
So, men have read this book.
I'm sure they have.
And one man told me, thank you, because he has young daughters. And now he knows what to look for when things seem picture perfect. He knows to look beyond that and look for signs of abuse with his own daughters so that he can step in earlier and help prevent his daughters from experiencing the abuse. Another guy read it and said he understood his mother more. He said him and his mother didn't have the best relationship, and Nina reminded him of his mom. And he said now he understands his mother on a different level, and it has helped their relationship. Other women have said, Nina is my story. I could not put this book down. Nina is so strong. This has shown me that I am worth so much more. This has shown me that God is always with me. Women are inspired by Nina's story. They are so encouraged by it.
Wow, that's incredible, huh? So that feedback has surpassed what you could have predicted, I imagine, huh? The way it's touching people's lives and inspiring them?
Yes, because, I never had it. My vision was never to be an author.
This was your first book?
This was my first book. It was never to be an author, and it happened by coincidence. My husband was my current husband. I remarried, by the way.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I remarried, and my current husband said he wanted to write a book about his spiritual journey.
Wow.
And I said, okay. So I was giving him what I call colorful feedback.
Yes.
So I'm giving him this feedback, and I would tell him things like, how was the weather when you were walking down the street? The wind blew and the leaves, it made the leaves wrestle on the ground, and that was indicative of what was going on within you. You were wrestling with your spirit. And so I said, let me write you a paragraph to show you what I mean.
Yeah.
So my husband read the paragraph, and he looked up and said, it's time. And I said, time for what? He said, I know your story, but I've read this, and after reading this, I need and want more. Yeah. So you have to continue writing. And here we are, picture perfect.
So it was initially him writing his,
yes.
You're helping him, but he said, I see something that needs, a story that needs to be told. That way of writing is terrific too, because it helps the reader visualize.
You force the reader to step in your shoes and step in your world.
Right.
And when I wrote this, I wanted people to feel like they were watching a movie.
Right, exactly.
And that's what everyone says. They're like, I can see this on the big screen, or I felt like I was watching a movie.
So in addition to all of this, the book and everything else, you even have T-shirts too, right? Tell us about that.
I do. I am so excited about this. I wanted to put affirmations on shirts because we use affirmations on a daily basis. A lot of people do. And the affirmations, they pick you up. They make you feel lighter. They make you feel confident. And so I said, why not put some of my own affirmations on shirts? Bold statements. It reminds the woman of the power that she holds. It puts the world on notice.
Yeah.
When she's wearing that, when the world sees her in a shirt that says, know your worth, never settle for a penny less, people are going to approach you different because they're going to understand that you know who you are and you're not going to settle for the mess. Anything that they bring to you that is not of peace, respect, dignity, integrity, you're not going to tolerate it.
Right.
Mom on a mission. It is an army fatigue shirt because as mothers, we are warriors.
Yeah.
And we are on a mission, not only for our families, but for ourselves. So when you see that and you see an army fatigue shirt and it says mom on a mission, watch out. That mom is on a mission and she's not going to let anyone stop her.
Right.
So it's to remind the woman, the purpose of it is to remind the woman of the power she holds and put the world on notice.
It's a Moach movement.
Yes, I like that. It's a Moach movement.
Yeah, I'm always thinking, that's a Moach movement.
You know what? That might be my next T-shirt.
A T-shirt, Moach approach.
Yeah. Moach approach.
See?
Okay, I'm gonna have to split
I'm gonna
have to split it with you now.
You're gonna go back to Maryland with a lot of things that we've discussed.
I love it.
That's it. I know. I love marketing and all that stuff.
Yes.
So we talked about the mission statement, but what is your hope? What are some other things you're working on that you're excited about? And where do you hope to take all of this work?
I will take this work. I will take this work, continue to take it internationally. I want to touch as many mothers as I can, which is why I began speaking. Because when you speak to the masses, you are impacting them at a higher rate than one-on-one moaching. And so I will be speaking this upcoming May in St. Martin on Mother's Day.
You picked good places. Wow, Barbados, St. Martin.
Yes,
nice.
I will be in St. Martin on Mother's Day, and I'll be speaking to 100 mothers there, empowering them. And my topic is to do it scared. I've done a lot of things scared in life, and they paid off.
You got to face your fear.
You got to face it, and you got to lean into the fear. You have to feel it, and you have to use it as motivation to get you to your next step. And so I'll be talking about doing it scared in St. Martin on Mother's Day this May. I will be speaking at a women's leadership forum in March that is just to inspire women. What I'll be speaking on, and that one is mom guilt. guilty as charged. I am also launching February 13th my group coaching program for mothers, and what I am building is a community of mothers who are there to support one another, hear one another, hold each other accountable, grow and learn from the process. And after the group coaching is over, they will be ready to excel and accomplish all their goals.
Is that all online, or is that in person, or a combination?
So the coaching group is virtual because I want to be able to reach more people.
Right.
So that is a virtual opportunity. I'll be having a virtual dinner date just to give the moms, it's almost like an information session.
Yeah.
We'll touch on mom guilt, and we'll just talk about what the group coaching program is about.
That's great.
Yes.
So you have a lot of cool things up your sleeve.
Yes,
to
I
work
do.
with
I'm
people.
excited.
It's really a full circle situation for you, because a lot of what you're doing might not have happened for what you had to go through and endure, deal with, work through, and rise up from, right?
Yes, yes. You know, a lot of times people say, don't wish you had what the next person has, because you don't know what they went through to get there. And I went through 22 years of emotional and physical abuse. Those 22 years taught me a lot, made me stronger, made me wiser. And so now I'm in a position to be able to help and support other women. But I don't think the next woman wants to go through 22 years of domestic violence in order to be successful.
Have your kids understood now the full situation, that it wasn't you going after dad that actually...
They understand now. My youngest, my kids understand now, but my youngest is 8 years old. Yeah, so he was, when we separated, he was a year old.
So doesn't
one or two.
Really know anything.
So he wasn't privy to any of that. It's my older two who are 16 and 19. They understand fully because I'm no longer the buffer. See, when we were in the home together, I was the buffer between him and the children.
He might have gone towards them.
Definitely, but I took it all so that they would not suffer. Again, what do mothers do?
Yeah.
We throw ourselves on the line. We will take the bullets.
The cubs.
We will take the punches to protect them. And that was a scary part for me. Do it scared. That's what I'll be talking about. It was scary because when they went to go see him, I was not there.
Yeah. So the story was totally different from what they were being
and
told.
So they learned him for themselves without me around, which was the best part of it all.
Right. That's amazing, really, it is.
Yeah.
What would you say to somebody who's watching this conversation right now, and they're going through something similar, and it's heavy stuff, and they're fearful of putting one foot in front of the other, they're fearful of taking it head on, they're fearful of just even acknowledging it, but it is something, as you are a perfect witness for us here, of how you can rise up, get through it, and shine and inspire others. They're in a stuck place of that fear, of the unknown. What's going to happen if I invest in myself, which I say is always the greatest investment you could make, is the one that's in yourself.
Yes.
What would you say to that person right now?
I would tell the woman, the mother who is afraid to leave, it's okay to be afraid. Fear is a natural emotion, and it is okay. Some of the best outcomes came through fear. So lean into it. But in that process, you have to connect yourself to people who are going to support you. And I know it's not easy. No. It is not easy to leave. That is one of the misconceptions when it comes to domestic violence. Everyone asks, why are you still there? Why don't you just leave? Well, if it was just that easy, every woman would not be suffering. No woman would suffer domestic violence. It's never that easy, and I understand. It's not that easy. but you have to lean into the fear. You have to understand that you are worth more. See, when you understand that you're worth more, then that's the fuel you need to push through that fear. Because then you're going to fight for yourself. You're going to fight to get out of that. And when you fight to get out of it, your children are safe.
Right.
You're safe. So lean into the fear. Believe and understand that you are worth more than your circumstances. Find a supportive network. A network that is going to uplift you, support you, guide you, give you the tips, build you up so that you can become happier, healthier, and safe. So those are the 3 things I would tell the woman who is suffering right now with domestic violence.
How has this been such an incredible blessing for you during this work? A joy, a blessing, and also something that has allowed you to, again, shine in ways that you maybe never thought you would.
If I didn't have this testimony, I wouldn't have a platform to reach so many women. My testimony, my saying yes to the mission,
right,
has been the breakthrough for so many women. My mission is bigger than me. My testimony, my story is a small piece of the puzzle. I am here for the masses. I am here to help, support, and position mothers to never be in the position I was in, and if they are, to get out of that position. This has been so freeing. It's been a freeing journey for me. It's been therapeutic. I am happy. This is the happiest I've been in my entire life because I finally understand who I am. I have finally aligned with my purpose. I am finally operating at my maximum potential. I am finally living the life of abundance I was meant to live. And that is the dream. That is the dream. And life still lives. Things still happen. But when I have a strong foundation in who I am and what the mission is, it makes life circumstances easier to cope with and grow through.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
It really is.
Oh,
It
God.
gets emotional,
Yeah,
right?
I'm trying not to get emotional right now.
They all do when they talk to Jim Masters.
Oh goodness, Jim!
surreal.
Don't pull the tears out of me. I have makeup on.
We don't want the lashes to come off.
Right? No. Oh my goodness. Yes, I am. I don't regret it, and it had to happen. My those 22 years, my story, my journey.
Do you see them as
happen.
wasted years, or there was a lot that?
That journey even prepared me for my second husband. It prepared me. It grew me. It taught me. I now appreciate, and my husband and I, we always say this. We had to go through failed relationships
To get
to understand and appreciate when we found one another.
Yeah.
And so I have a profound appreciation for my current husband. I would not have that if I would have married him first. If I would have married my second husband first, the appreciation that I have now, I wouldn't have.
Right.
Because I'd had to experience the turmoil first.
Right, and realize.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. All right, your very first novel. Again, congratulations, Picture Perfect. Where can people get this book, Niki?
That can be purchased on Amazon. I have it available in a paperback, hardback. It can also be purchased on Audible. I went in the studio and I narrated my own story. Yes, it was a cathartic experience again.
So they get to hear you telling your story in your own words, verbally.
Yes, and it can also be purchased on Google Play. And it can be purchased on my website.
Yeah.
And my website address is www.nikiknows.com. And that's Niki Knows, Nikiknows. .com.
That is fantastic. This was amazing, a fantastic
Thank you.
conversation. Like I said, we do conversations here, and you're so authentic and real and passionate. And
Thank you.
I feel the energy, I feel the warmth, I feel your desire to connect with people
Yes.
for your, not just mission, but your message. Because there's a mission and then there's a message
yes,
that's
definitely.
underneath that mission. I see how that resonates with people and how important it is for you to get that out and connect, because it's also a healing journey for everybody. As much as it is a
Yes.
learning and explorative journey like you talked about, there's a lot of healing involved in this, and you've done the healing,
Yes.
which is important. And again, a perfect example of how if somebody, maybe you, is struggling with some of these situations yourself, somebody like Niki can be of great value because she's been there, walks the walk, talks the talk,
Yes.
which I think is incredible. Well, I certainly hope that you enjoyed the time with me as much as I absolutely have with you, Niki.
Indeed, I have.
It was really terrific,
Yes.
and thanks for being so real and so open and authentic. And I wish you nothing but continued joy and blessing in your life going forward. I think what you're doing, you're taking something that was at many points a real negative and flipping it upside down
Yes.
to a positive
Yes.
in your life, your kids' life, everybody around you, but to the masses, like you say,
Yes.
which I think is important. So continued success and blessings to you, Niki.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this opportunity.
If you'd like to learn more and connect with Nikia Pratt, visit her website. For Close Up Television and Radio, I'm Jim Masters. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again next time.